I've debated with myself for quite some time whether I should do a video on this movie, but you know what? I think I will. And since it's out on Netflix, let's talk about I didn't even need to say the title this time. Like, that's how on the nose and in your face Indian soundtracks and movies are, because did you listen to that? It's so direct. Like, it conveys the message immediately. He is a badass. Yeah, and I've been debating whether to do a video on this movie for a while, because one thing, I have very critical views of Indian cinema, especially Tamil cinema, because I've seen it all my life and I've seen nothing really new and innovative being done. And I know that my fellow Indian people enjoy these movies, and if I give a too critical view of this movie, I might get some hate, because one, it is starring a massive Indian leading man, a massive Tamil cinema leading man, Vijay, but I thought I'd just give my honest opinions. So, Leo is the latest film by director Lokesh Kanagaraj, and it takes place in the first shared Tamil cinematic universe, the first Tamil shared cinematic universe, action cinematic universe. And it's helmed by the director, which is Lokesh Kanagaraj. I'll address him as Loki, it's what he's called by most people. And it includes two of his previous films, which were Kaidi and Vikram, and now this movie, Leo, which ties into this greater shared world, which is focused on the drug trade, or a drug trade in India. And most of the heroes, actually not most, all of the heroes are slowly contributing towards taking down this drug trade. Now, for this movie itself, it is an homage by the director Loki, who is a big fan of the movie A History of Violence. So this is an homage. It's there in the opening credits, and I give him credit for that, because some directors will take a lot of inspiration from different movies, or maybe from a single movie, Joker, but they won't really admit it. They're like, oh yeah, we're just like lightly inspired. No, this is Lokesh Kanagaraj's interpretation and adaptation of A History of Violence, and he comes out and just puts it there in the opening credits, so you're not misled. So just like in A History of Violence, this movie follows an everyman, in this case Parthiban, who's living in Himachal Pradesh, which is a rural area, sort of snowy India, up near the mountains, I guess. I'm not that great with Indian geography. But it follows the story of this man. He owns a cafe. He's a cafe owner. And first of all, the opening scene it's actually really well done. The opening scene so there is a hyena on the loose, and this guy, Parthiban, who is a expert on animals, is called in to basically save the day. And you know what? CG has been a big weak point of Indian cinema. It's been steadily improving, but when it comes to animals, the CG has been crap, has been kind of garbage. But the hyena CG was surprisingly really, really good, and I'll get to that in a minute. But back to the story. So he saves the town from the hyena, goes back to his family life. So him and his family, they live a quite quaint life in Himachal Pradesh, and he owns a cafe. And one day his cafe is kind of taken over by this group of assassins, I guess, because they're in the opening scene. Actually, it is about these assassins killing some political figure. I don't know if that's going to tie into any other movies in this cinematic universe, but yeah, so these assassins, they take over his cafe. One of them is not all put together up there, and they fight, and oh my god, I will touch on the action set pieces, because this one was amazing. But they have a fight in the cafe, and this assassin, this killer, has his daughter, takes his daughter hostage, and in a move of desperation, he basically headshots all 4 or 5 of them. And this is someone who's an everyman, who's never trained. And so just like in A History of Violence, he's tried and he's found out to be just an everyman. But his face is now plastered in national media. And what that means is that everyone sees him, and a lot of people recognize him as Leo Das, who is a violent criminal and part of a drug trade belonging to the Das family. So now we're at a point where the patriarch of the Das family believes that Parthiban is Leo and comes after him and his family in order to make Leo return to his side. So that is basically the gist of the movie. So I want to dive. First of all, I mentioned the CG because the CG hyena is really, really good. Like, really good. And you know the animators were flexing because not only did they have this hyena appear in daytime, they had the hyena appear in daytime and in the snow. So you have to have the hyena look good in daylight while having it interact with the snow around it. That's why I say it's really good. It is a massive step up. But where they invested most of their budget probably on that hyena, they definitely didn't with the vehicles. The CG vehicles look bad. There's an action set piece that involves a car chase and it's kind of hard to do practically, so they resort to CG, and the CG is just not good. Like, inanimate objects are supposed to be easier to do in CG, but somehow the CG for the cars, and not just in that scene but in some other scenes as well, the CG for the cars was just really not good. So I think it's like 2 studios, one handled the hyena, the other handled the cars, and one got a lot of the budget, one had to push it out as quickly as possible. This is an action movie, and of course the most important part is the action set pieces. Now with his previous movie Vikram, I think with the guiding hand of Tamil cinema legend Kamal Haasan, Loki brought some really impressive set pieces with really unique camera work that has not been really done in Tamil cinema. And that's why I was anticipating this movie, just to see how he would shoot action set pieces. And safe to say, at least for the cafe scene, he didn't disappoint, because that is one of the best action scenes of any movie this year. It can compete with some scenes in John Wick. That's how good it is for me. The problem is that and one action set piece towards the end, which involves a home invasion, are the action highlights of the film, because the other action set pieces kind of really fall short. It feels like he's overworking it with the camera, especially with a fight scene I think it was at the market, where the camera moved in and out way too much. It was a bit dizzying. I don't know if he was trying to copy something from Vikram, using maybe a drone to film the action set piece, but it really made it hard to follow. It was still a good action scene, but I feel like if he pulled back a little bit and worked more with static camera work, that it would have been a much better action scene. As for the acting in this movie, I'm just going to talk about Vijay for a bit, because he is a big leading man in Tamil cinema. He releases a film every year. It's a family film, it's built for everyone, and it's a mass entertainer. So people come and give money and they switch their brains off, and that's what I do with his movies. And his acting has always been very, very one note. He just does the same thing and similarly to most leading men in Tamil cinema, they just do the same thing in all of their movies most of the time. So for this movie, it feels like he tried to act a little bit, and that's why I want to give him props, because he tried to actually act. Trisha, who plays his wife in this movie, was also really good, especially during emotional beats, but that's really all she had to do. And also during that home invasion sequence, she was excellent there. And that's all really I can say about the acting, because the villains were okay, if not forgettable. Sanjay Dutt and Arjun Sarja do the best they can do with the material, but this movie feels really like it is a showcase for Vijay instead. All in all, I feel like this is a step in the right direction for the Lokiverse or the LCU. as a whole, because it does not reach the levels that Vikram did. But damn, can any movie actually reach the levels that Vikram did with action? I don't know. But yeah, it sets up another piece in this cinematic universe. It is, for the most part, kind of entertaining. It does get a little bit boring. I feel like there was a flashback scene that kind of just ground the momentum to a halt, because in Vikram, the whole song and dance is done at the beginning of the film, and then you're just following the movie, whereas here you have this flashback with the song and dance, and it kind of just slows the momentum down when it's getting good, so it kind of takes you out of it a bit. But all in all, it's still a very solid third entry into this unlikely cinematic universe, and I am excited to see more from the director and whether he can keep up his standards for action directing. I give Leo a solid 7 out of 10.
Hey, Editor Vishnu here, and after going through the video as well as re-watching the movie, I feel like 7 is a bit too high. I feel like a 6 or a 6.5 is a more appropriate score for this movie. Anyway, that's it from me. Back to the video.
Anyways, if you did see Leo in cinemas, or you're going to see it on Netflix, please let me know what you think in the comments, and what you think about this cinematic universe, this burgeoning cinematic universe as a whole. I'll see you in the next video. Also, still going with these end cards, so please do check out these videos and subscribe if you like what you've seen here.